as the city of Tampa was draped in the festive spirit of Halloween. The night's eerie calm was shattered by a sudden outburst of violence. The streets, once filled with the laughter of costumed revelers and the playful fright of haunted attractions, became the backdrop for a real-life horror. It was here, amidst the Halloween celebrations, that a confrontation escalated into a tragedy, leaving the community reeling in its wake. The incident unfolded in the early hours, as two groups clashed, their altercation spiraling into a deadly shooting. The sounds of gunfire echoed through the streets, transforming the Halloween festivities into scenes of panic and chaos. The Tampa police swiftly responded to the mayhem, their sirens cutting through the cacophony of the night. As the sun rose on the aftermath, the gravity of the situation became clear. 2 lives were lost, and numerous others were injured. The community, which had come together to celebrate a night of ghoulish fun, was now mourning the senseless loss and grappling with the trauma of the event. In this video, we delve into the details of the Halloween shooting in Tampa. We'll explore the sequence of events that led to the tragedy, the response from law enforcement, and the impact on the victims and the community at large. Join us as we unravel the story behind the headlines and pay homage to the resilience of a city shaken by an unexpected horror. Stay with us as we bring to light the stories of those affected and the ongoing quest for justice. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more true crime stories. Your engagement helps us keep these important narratives alive and ensures that the voices of the victims are never forgotten. As the clock ticked closer to midnight, the vibrant streets of Tampa's River City were awash with the spirit of Halloween. Costumed revelers moved in waves, laughter and music filling the air, a collective celebration of the eerie and the fantastical. But amidst the revelry, a chilling undercurrent was about to surface, transforming the night's festivities into a scene of unimaginable horror. It began as an altercation, a confrontation between two groups that would escalate into a deadly exchange. Witnesses recount the sudden, sharp sounds that pierced the night, at first mistaken for firecrackers, a cruel trick in a night known for treats. But as the reality set in, panic took hold. The crowd, once a tapestry of joyful masqueraders, became a canvas of chaos and fear. The aftermath was a grim tally that no one could have anticipated. 2 lives tragically cut short and 18 others wounded, their Halloween memories forever marred by the trauma of that night. The police, their presence a stark contrast to the costumed crowd, cordoned off the scene, their blue lights casting long shadows as they began the somber task of piecing together the events that led to the tragedy. As the investigation unfolded, a 22-year-old was charged with second-degree murder, a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the proximity of violence even in moments of celebration. The community of Tampa, united in their grief, would remember this Halloween not for the ghosts and ghouls that roamed the streets, but for the very real specter of violence that had intruded upon their night of escapism. In the wake of the Halloween horror that unfolded on the streets of Tampa, the immediate aftermath was a scene of utter chaos and confusion. Emergency services rushed to the scene amidst the cacophony of sirens and the panicked cries of the crowd. First responders were met with a harrowing sight, victims in need of urgent care and a community in shock. The streets, which moments ago were filled with the laughter and joy of Halloween revelers, were now a canvas of tragedy. Bystanders, some in costumes that now seemed grotesque mockeries of the night's events, tried to help the injured, while others were frozen, unable to process the violence that had erupted in their midst. The impact was immediate and devastating. 2 lives were lost, a stark and painful reminder of the fragility of peace. Among the injured were 18 individuals whose night of celebration turned into a fight for survival. The community of Tampa, known for its vibrant nightlife and festive celebrations, was now mourning in the shadow of an unforeseen terror. As the investigation unfolded, the media began to piece together the events. Reports emerged of a fight between 2 groups that escalated into a deadly confrontation. A suspect was arrested, bringing a small measure of solace to a community grappling with the senseless loss. This tragic event serves as a grim reminder of the unpredictability of violence and the importance of community resilience. As we continue to uncover the details of this fateful night, let us not forget the lives altered and the spirits broken. Stay tuned as we delve deeper into the investigation and the pursuit of justice for the victims and their families. In the wake of the Halloween horror that struck Tampa, the stories of the victims and the heroes who emerged in the chaos are both heartbreaking and inspiring. The night that was meant for celebration turned into a nightmare when a fight between 2 groups escalated into a deadly shooting, leaving 2 dead and 18 injured, as reported by CNN and The Guardian. Among the hundreds of revelers, there were those who, despite the danger, stepped up to help the wounded, to comfort the scared, and to restore a sense of safety amidst the pandemonium. Their acts of bravery and selflessness paint a picture of true heroism in the face of unspeakable terror. we pay tribute to the lives tragically cut short, and our thoughts are with their families and friends who are grappling with this senseless loss. The community of Tampa, bound by grief, is also bound by a shared strength and resilience. The stories of those who survived and those who acted with valor will not be forgotten. They remind us of the light that can shine even in the darkest of times. As we reflect on the events of that fateful night, we honor the memory of all those affected. Their stories are a testament to the human spirit's capacity for courage and compassion in the midst of horror. Let their legacy be one of hope and unity as we stand together against violence and in support of one another. In the wake of the Halloween horror that shook Tampa, the spotlight turned to a 22-year-old named Tyrell Stephen Phillips. Arrested and charged with second-degree murder, Phillips became the face of the tragedy that left a community reeling. But who is Tyrell Stephen Phillips? Reports describe him as a young man now entangled in the legal system, facing grave charges for his alleged role in the shooting that claimed lives and caused widespread injury. The charges brought against him are severe, reflecting the seriousness of the incident that unfolded on that fateful Halloween night. As the story unfolds, the background of Tyrell Stephen Phillips will be scrutinized. From his past to the moments leading up to the incident, the charges he faces will not only determine his fate but also serve as a piece of a larger puzzle that the community and the legal system are desperately trying to solve. As the city of Tampa grappled with the aftermath of the Halloween horror, the focus swiftly shifted to the meticulous process of evidence collection. The Tampa Police Department, fortified by forensic experts, embarked on a scrupulous quest to piece together the events of that fateful night. Every fragment of evidence became a silent witness to the tragedy. The investigation was a puzzle that demanded patience and precision. Witness statements became the narrative that guided the detectives, each account adding depth to the emerging picture. Surveillance footage served as an unblinking eye, capturing moments that human memory might falter to recall. It was through these digital eyes that the investigators hoped to track the movements of the suspect, to understand the chaos that unfolded. Forensic analysis played a pivotal role, with every bullet casing, every trace of DNA, and every fiber contributing to a tapestry of truth. The crime scene, cordoned off and combed through, yielded clues that were both overt and obscure. In the wake of the violence, the science of investigation stood as the beacon of hope, a promise that justice might be found in the details. In the wake of the Halloween shooting that shattered the festive spirit of Tampa, the community's heartache was palpable. The streets, which should have been filled with the echoes of celebration, were instead lined with memorials and flickering candles, each flame a silent testament to the lives lost and the innocence stolen. The city, known for its vibrant nightlife and close-knit community, found itself grappling with the all-too-familiar specter of gun violence. As the news of the tragedy spread, a somber mood enveloped the city. Vigils were quickly organized, with residents gathering to honor the victims and stand in solidarity with their families. The gatherings were a sea of sorrow, yet amidst the grief, there was a stirring sense of unity. Local leaders and citizens took to public forums and social media to express their devastation and to call for action. The community's response was not just one of mourning, but also of resilience. They demanded justice and a reevaluation of public safety measures, igniting conversations about gun control and community involvement. This tragedy, like too many before it, sparked a renewed urgency to address the nation's gun violence epidemic. Support initiatives sprung up throughout Tampa, with fundraisers and resource drives to aid the victims' families. The community's spirit, though wounded, showed an unwavering commitment to healing and helping one another through the darkest of times. The Tampa Police Department faced a daunting task in the wake of the Halloween shooting that shook the city to its core. With two groups clashing in the streets, the situation escalated rapidly into a deadly confrontation, leaving 2 individuals dead and several others injured. The chaos of the night posed significant challenges for law enforcement officers as they arrived at the scene. The immediate priority was to secure the area and provide aid to the victims. But simultaneously, a meticulous search for evidence commenced. The police had to comb through a complex crime scene, gathering bullet casings, personal belongings, and any other forensic evidence that could lead to the perpetrators. Surveillance footage from nearby bars and clubs became a crucial component of the investigation, offering a glimpse into the events that transpired and potentially capturing the identities of those involved. Despite the shooter's attempt to flee, the swift action of the Tampa police led to the apprehension of a suspect a short distance from the crime scene. A handgun was recovered during the arrest, which would serve as a key piece of evidence. The police faced the challenge of piecing together a fragmented narrative from a night where many were in disguise, and chaos reigned supreme. The community's cooperation was vital, with witnesses coming forward to provide statements that would help law enforcement build a case. The police department also had to navigate the public's demand for swift justice while ensuring a thorough and fair investigation, balancing transparency with the integrity of the ongoing case. As the investigation unfolds, the Tampa Police Department continues to search for all involved parties, facing the challenge of bringing justice to a community in mourning. The law enforcement's dedication to solving this case reflects their commitment to the safety and well-being of Tampa's citizens, ensuring that such a tragedy does not go unanswered. In the wake of the Halloween weekend tragedy, the wheels of justice began to turn for Tyrell Stephen Phillips. The legal proceedings kicked off with his arrest, leading to a series of court appearances that would determine the course of his trial. Phillips faced serious charges, the nature of which would be dissected and debated in the legal arena. The initial court appearance set the stage for a judicial process that promised to be as meticulous as it was somber. The prosecution, armed with evidence gathered from the crime scene, witness testimonies, and possibly surveillance footage, would argue for a conviction that could bring a sense of closure to the bereaved families and a rattled community. On the other side, the defense would be preparing its case, potentially challenging the evidence and seeking to ensure a fair trial for Phillips. The legal strategies employed could range from questioning the validity of the evidence to proposing alternative narratives of the events that unfolded on that fateful night. As the case moved forward, pretrial hearings and motions would shape the landscape of the upcoming trial. These proceedings would delve into the admissibility of evidence, witness lists, and other legal formalities that are crucial to both the defense and prosecution. The community, still in mourning, would watch closely as the case progressed, hoping for justice to be served. The outcome of the trial could set precedents and influence future cases, making it a focal point not just for those directly affected but for the broader society that seeks to understand and prevent such tragedy. The road to trial for Tyrell Stephen Phillips is not just a legal journey but a path towards understanding and, ultimately, justice. As the case unfolds, it will undoubtedly raise questions about law enforcement, legal proceedings, and the very fabric of community safety. In the wake of the Halloween horror that unfolded on the streets of Tampa, the community and the nation have been forced to confront the chilling realities of gun violence. The tragic event has reignited a fervent debate on public safety and the measures necessary to prevent such senseless loss of life in the future. As the city mourns, questions are being raised about the effectiveness of current gun control policies and the steps that can be taken to ensure a safer environment for all. The incident has not only left a scar on the hearts of those directly affected but has also spurred a movement among policymakers and citizens alike, calling for a critical examination of gun laws and a push towards more stringent regulations. The conversation extends beyond Tampa, echoing through the halls of power and in the homes of concerned citizens nationwide. It's a pivotal moment that could potentially reshape the landscape of public safety and set a new precedent for gun control measures. As we reflect on the events of that fateful night, let us not only remember the lives tragically cut short but also consider the broader implications for our society. It's a call to action for all of us to engage in the dialogue and advocate for change, to ensure that such tragedies are not repeated.